In this video, we're going to talk about the top 3 reasons folks choose to do testicle augmentation or enhancement. So I would say in general, there's 3 groups I see who come to my office for this reason. The first group of people are folks who have complaints that their testicles are too small. There's a number of different reasons this might be the case. Most commonly, it's just congenital, it's the way they have developed. There's no necessarily real diagnosis there. Other common reasons are previously using steroids or anabolic steroids to gain muscle. That's quite common too because it can cause shrinkage, and sometimes the shrinkage is irreversible. Testosterone use can cause shrinkage as well. Sometimes other infections and genetic conditions can cause it too. And in those cases, folks have smaller than average testicles and wish to enhance them. And this is what we do. We leave the testicle, which in most cases is functioning just fine, producing hormones and therefore fertility as well, and we push it back with a larger silicone implant that is very well tolerated. In other cases, folks may have lost a testicle, one or both testicle. I see a growing number of men who come to me who've previously had saline implants placed. In general, these tend not to be very well tolerated. There's one study, for example, out of Scandinavia, showing that about 60 to 70% of folks who had these types of implants found them too hard, too uncomfortable, and just really unnatural. And so they'll come to us, they'll switch them out to these softer silicone implants. In most cases, it's just on one side, although we certainly see folks where it is on both sides. The most common reason, however, folks come to me is the same reason as folks come to me for breast enhancement or breast augmentation, and it's simply because they may not have abnormally small testicles, but they just wish to enhance them. And it's very common that folks will come and express that this is something that's bugged them for a long time, sometimes all their lives, or their partner doesn't understand it. And it's just something that's bugged them. We'll work carefully to choose an appropriate size. The off-the-shelf implants come up to about 5 by 4 centimeters, which is usually the very biggest you'll find in nature. Rarely you can find it like a tiny bit bigger than that. I've seen that, but typically that's getting to the biggest you see in nature. And then once we go above that into the custom testicle size range, well, that tends to be unnaturally big. However, that is the goal for some men. And in many cases, the scrotum, the surrounding tissue can accommodate that. And so we'll sit down with those individuals, carefully figure out a size that's going to suit them. The main limitation is on the lower side, we need the implant to be big enough to hide the original testicle. So if we're starting out with normal sized testicles, let's say about 3.5 centimeters typically, and above, this means that usually we'll have to get a custom implant so that we can comfortably hide the native testicles. And so we'll figure out the exact size and dimensions with the patient, and then the surgery itself tends to be very straightforward. You just make a small incision down low in the scrotum. A very common complaint I hear from patients as well is that the native testicles kind of sit too high. So we put the incision down here low, slip in the testicles. Initially, very similar to breast augmentation patients, the scrotum itself tends to contract a little bit more than usual for usually the first few weeks, sometimes even months. It will be high and tight, and then with time, gravity kicks in, things relax, and the testicles sit down in a very natural position and hide the native testicle behind. However, in my opinion, it's very important to still have access to that native testicle because although rare, especially in gentlemen over 40, it is still possible to develop testicle tumors. So we need to be able to examine these testicles. And that's why we do the side-by-side technique. It's not really side-by-side. That's kind of a misnomer. It's kind of behind, as you can see in this diagram. But that's why I prefer that technique. In the past, it's been described to wrap the testicle in some sort of prosthesis, but I favor this one instead. It's a lot simpler. Just leave the native testicle alone. let it be so you can still access it, but in the natural position it is well hidden. So those are the common 3 reasons folks come to us for testicular enhancement. Procedure itself is very straightforward. We do it in under an hour. We can do it under sedation or light anesthetic. And we are accepting consults here in Miami, Florida. We have folks, it's an unusual procedure, but we do have folks for that reason who travel in from all over the world for it, and we are accepting consults via the link down below. Thank you.